Hello, Cinema Makeup School students, friends, and family. Marilyn Lintel here with another industry interview. Now, usually these interviews have a makeup industry professionals, but I wanted to talk to you today about marketing yourself as a makeup artist and as a business owner as well, specifically publicity. So that's why today I've brought to you a publicist who also is a business owner. Her name is Marilyn Lintel, and she is the founder of Storyline PR. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here today. I'd love to get your view on publicity and marketing because that is so important in business always, but I think a lot more in today's world. So talk to me first a little bit about Storyline PR and what you do.
Yeah, so I started Storyline PR right about 2 years ago, and I represent people who work behind the camera. So makeup department heads, hair department heads, costume designers, production designers, cinematographers. And then I really work to get them recognition for what they do, because a lot of times publicity is really focused on the actors of a film or TV show or the director. But there's so much more that goes into every single project. And those are the people that we don't necessarily see on camera. So I'm really working to get recognition for them to go out and talk to the press about what they do, what makes their work unique, and really what they're providing to the industry, because no project would be complete without them.
Right, because as we talk about a lot in this show, is that everybody that is on a film set is important and is a filmmaker. Nothing happens with just one person, which you can, like if you're a YouTuber, right? Or you're like, do like what I do, or you do a lot of everything. But if you're really going out and you are making a film, if you are on a film set, you're a filmmaker, and all cogs are important. Why would a makeup artist need a publicist?
So I think essentially having a publicist on your team is part of building your brand. So the publicist is there to understand what makes your work unique, what kind of projects do you want to work on? Do you want to work on something maybe more natural or something more prosthetics, things like that? So they're there to learn what you want and then take the messaging, start building your brand, and reaching out to the press to kind of get you on the industry's mind, because you never know what department head might be reading a story in Variety. They see your name and they're like, oh, that's really interesting. Because it's all about connections and people learning about who you are and what makes you unique. And that's how you start from, makeup artist to assistant department head to department head. And I think sometimes publicity can just kind of fast track a career in that way that wouldn't, otherwise happen.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And that's actually how we met, because I was doing a podcast interviewing specifically behind the scenes professionals, like all sorts of behind the scenes professionals, called On the Fly Filmmaking. And you were able to bring me so many talent from behind the scenes that needed an interview and needed to speak about their art in a bigger sense. And which I thought was really, really great that we were able to connect in that way.
Yes, that was great.
What other kind of things can a makeup artist or anyone behind the scenes do in order to publicize themselves?
Publicizing yourself is really important, because especially when you're new, it's not really a time where you would have a publicist. You get a publicist like the higher up you get and the more projects that you're working on. So I think Instagram is really important, connecting with people that way, especially being in a visual field, whether it's doing tutorials, maybe something on Zoom. I'm seeing a lot of makeup artists doing those now. Like I work with the makeup department head on Euphoria, and I know she'll do like Zoom, Q&As and things like that to connect with people. Getting on social media, connecting with other people in the industry is really great. Showing your style and things like that, whether it's projects you're working on, your own makeup, things that you've done for friends or colleagues, anything like that to get your talent out there, I feel like is probably the best form of publicity you can do for yourself.
And you work with them also on branding themselves, because a lot of folks may not even know. They're like, but I do makeup. But there is a style that you bring as an individual. Right. I don't care who you are and what lane you are in any industry, there is something that you specifically, as you bring to your work. And that's where branding can help, because you just help like kind of clarify that, right? So it's projected correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And I even think, I mean, something that people can do nowadays is, even if you see an article in Allure, right, and it's something about makeup tips, you could always reach out to the journalist and see if there's any way that you can contribute or any tips that you could offer. Not guaranteed they'll say yes, but it's a way to reach out and maybe make a connection with someone in the media. And even if it's offering one tip or something small, there's a start right there.
Right. Your clients are everywhere in TV and film. Like they're working on Black Panther and Hollywood and Picard, like everywhere. Like everything that's on TV and in the movies, her clients have worked on. And I know one of your clients that I see everywhere is the costume designer from Black Panther. And like you've done so much work with her. What is her name again?
Ruth Carter.
Ruth Carter. Ruth Carter is everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've seen her like just the kind of PR that a celebrity would get. Like she's making these rounds, like, you know her, you know Ruth Carter. And I just like, every time I see her, I'm like, Marilyn's doing it.
Well, it's so important, and I'm so passionate about it because, like you were saying, everyone on set is important and they're all filmmakers. So to see someone rise up, especially like Ruth, she's made such a global impact with the work that she's done. And so many other artists have, the other filmmakers. So I think it's great to see her get that attention, because it's like, hey, look at all these creatives and the things that they've done.
Yeah, that's amazing, because as somebody that's creative, like I've always been fascinated with the behind the scenes team. Like, sure, the actors are great. The directors, we usually know a little bit more about them, but there's so many pieces that go into it. Like I want to know what their art is as well. One of our previous interviews was with Donald Mowat, who is Marilyn's client. Who are some of your other makeup artist clients?
I work with Donnie Davy, and she is the makeup department head on Euphoria. Totally brilliant. And Nadia Stacy, she was the hair and makeup designer on The Favorite. Those are two that I worked with more recently, but wildly different projects, but so cool.
Yeah, that is such a neat roster that you have, and you guys should definitely check it out at storylinepublicrelations.com. You can see the projects that her clients have worked on, and it's everything, and it's so varied, and it's got to be so exciting for you because you get to like really learn about all these different things that they do on set. What point in one's career is it useful to seek out a publicist?
I think once you start getting towards maybe the assistant department head, I would say definitely once you are the lead, because essentially, they're kind of the top of the pyramid. That's kind of where, they're managing other people, or they're really creating like the look of the show or the film. So I think as far as what you're going to get the most press once you're really high up there, I think up until you get to that point, doing the personal publicity through, like we had talked about, Instagram, networking, and getting to know these makeup department heads who could refer you to a project when they're unable to do it. I think those are really important things. And then once you get to the top, then that's a good time to get a publicist and start building your brand even more.
Right, because all of your artists, they have a specific brand. Like, you have specific ones that do really great action movies and really great bright colored things, or there's like a flavor to everyone. Right. All of us as artists, we all have a flavor, and you want to clarify that with your audience and with potential employers. So that's why publicity is really important, even to work on before you're at the point where you have a publicist. Is like to really understand you have to market yourself. Even if you're behind the scenes, we've talked about this a lot, like get your Instagram right, get your portfolio right, and market yourself correctly. And also get comfortable on camera, because I've been seeing that a lot in these interviews. They're like a lot of these folks are like, no, but I decided to work behind the scenes. They're like, but you're still in entertainment and you need to talk. What kind of work do you do with your talent to get them prepared to be on camera?
Because I do work with a lot of people who don't want to be, on camera, or they're nervous about being interviewed because they just haven't been there before. So a lot of times to get them comfortable, we'll go through potential questions and how to best answer them. You know, how did you get started? What was your research process? What was the creative process? And I'll just work with them to kind of make their answers concise and to the point, because sometimes with the artists, they're so close to these projects, they may not think of the questions that you or I might ask, having been, you know, farther removed from it. So it's just kind of getting them to see questions from someone else's point of view and making them feel comfortable answering them.
Right. And that's why I love like the name of your company is Storyline Public Relations, because you are helping them tell their storyline as an artist. And that's what you're working to get out there to the public.
Exactly.
And I think it's really great work that you're doing. Do you have any advice for our aspiring and beginner artists outside of Instagram, beyond those kind of things? What should they be showing out in the world?
I think networking is one of the most important things that you can do. Not being a makeup artist myself, I guess I can't speak to specifics, but so many of these people have personal websites, and then there's IMDb. If you have IMDb Pro, you can find contact information for their reps. But I think messaging these makeup artists, department heads, seeing if they could just go and get coffee or something like that. And I guess you could bring your portfolio, but I do have a number of clients who've had people reach out to them on email saying, hey, I don't know if you're looking for an assistant, but you know, and then doing it that way.
And I really think it is a good idea for students, beginners, and aspiring artists, wherever you are, if you're at the beginning of your career. But even if you're further along in your career, is to follow companies like Storyline PR. And when they're artists that you would like to work with, get a piece of PR. They have an interview. Watch the interview, then message them and say, I saw you in this interview. I love that you said this specific thing. Thank you so much. And then you're just building relationships in a way that's not aggressive.
Exactly.
Because everyone likes to be complimented, and everyone likes to know that their interviews were seen and that they said something that was useful. So following PR companies, even if you are not yet at the point where you have a publicist, but to follow PR companies that represent the people you would like to work with, and you can keep track of what PR, because you're on your Instagram all the time, like this person was on this interview, this person was over here, like you can see where they're showing up, and then you as the artist can watch it, learn from it, and say what you learned.
It's cool that way because, yeah, like you had said, if someone, an aspiring makeup artist, is reading an interview that someone did, and yeah, you can reach out to that makeup artist, say what you had said, and then, you know, oh, and I really liked the work that you did on X project. So I feel like even looking for a job, when I was looking for them at the start of my career in publicity, I would email companies and say, oh, I see you work with this client. I think that's really cool what you guys did for XYZ. And it's like that personal touch, I feel like, makes all the difference. You know, you could be the most talented person in the world, but I think someone who is really going to put in the effort and try and make a personal connection is who's going to get the farthest.
I think that that's the best advice for life in general, is just have a personal touch in whatever it is, any communications that you're having, whether it's for work, in an interview, or just to be a human. Have a personal touch, because we're all in this. We're all humans. At the end of the day, we all are the same. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Good luck out there. I feel like follow your dreams, and if that's your passion, go for it. And I think now during quarantine, it almost gives you even more time to practice your craft.
Yes, it's a very good time to practice, to strategize, because everyone at the top of the makeup industry is definitely doing these interviews online and doing courses online, and are more accessible because we're all at home and online. So take that opportunity to reach out, say hello, say what you like about their work, and network a little bit, because it doesn't have to be a party to be networking. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of your insight on publicity. If you guys would like to know more about Marilyn and her company, you can follow on Instagram at Storyline PR or at storylinepublicrelations.com. And hopefully I'll be seeing you guys sooner than later. Catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.